What's up, guys?
Welcome to our mini episode.
We're doing something a little bit different today. It's actually a Wednesday, and we normally film on Mondays.
We decided to just throw the whole week off. We've had a few little setbacks today as we're setting up.
I feel like we always have setbacks,
Yes.
but we always make it work, you
Yeah,
know?
today usually there's like one or two. Today there were maybe like three or four. But here we are.
Rolling with the punches. So we decided, why not do a mini episode, put it out for you guys so you can get a little bit of a preview of next week's episode that will be coming out soon.
Yes, so we'll dive into the headlines that we'll cover today. We'll dive into those more in our episode next week, so you can look forward to that. Okay, so hey guys, it's time for the sports update. So for the miniature episode, I'm actually going to do just a Tennessee-focused sports update since we don't have time to cover everything that's happening nationally. So buckle up and get excited for that. So biggest thing going on right now, NFL draft. So exciting.
Oh, yeah.
I've been needing a little football fix since the fall, and here we are. Finally got it. So starting off, Joe Milton, our QB, he wasn't one of our best QBs, but he has such a powerful arm that he is an asset and was definitely going to get drafted. So he was drafted as the 193rd pick overall. Do you know what team he's going to?
Is it the Patriots?
It's the Patriots. Yes. Okay, so he's going to be praying that he can fill in Tom Brady's shoes, maybe. But he won't start playing, obviously, as a new draft pick, but exciting. Then we also have Jalen Wright, who is going to the Miami Dolphins. He was actually before Joe Milton as the 120th pick. Yes.
Oh, so by quite a bit.
So then the third Vol that was drafted was Kamal Haddon. So he actually was injured for most of his senior year, but he was an asset to our team prior to that. So he got chosen as the 211th pick for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow, so we've got some big teams.
Big teams. Yeah, they just won the Super Bowl, so that's super exciting for Haddon. But we have 12 overall Vols that are going to the NFL. The rest are free agents. Okay. So basically how that works is they don't get picked in the draft, but they can sign with an NFL team in hopes that they get put on the active roster. That doesn't happen too often, but they can be part of the practice squad and eventually work their way up.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So we've got a lot of Tennessee representation here in the NFL.
We do. Very exciting. So then just other big news. So I touched on this a few weeks ago, but the Falcons, they got Kirk Cousins as their quarterback, paid him so much money, okay? And then they just drafted a quarterback in the draft, and he was supposed to be the quarterback. And so Cousins manager came out and said we had no knowledge of this, big drama. I know.
What?
Big drama.
Why did they do that?
No idea.
Is the person that they drafted, are they even intending for them to play? Is it the Joe Milton situation?
Oh, it was the first round. So that they had to fight for him basically. He was from Washington. His name is Michael Penix. He was a huge player, so it could have gone to any other team. They could have fought for a wide receiver or someone else to make their team better, knowing that they already had a skilled QB. So I hate being a Falcons fan. I'm not really, because they've always sucked, but it's when are you going to learn?
That's very weird. They're trying to stack their team, but they're burning bridges.
They are burning bridges.
Is he able to end his contract because of that, or is he stuck?
I actually don't know. I would assume that he'd be stuck because, well, one, they're paying him so much money, and two, he just signed. But I'm sure that there's a way out of everything, probably. Okay, and then so baseball, we just lost the game last night to Lipscomb. What?
Wait, I didn't know they played Lipscomb.
Yes, the Bisons. So funny.
The Bisons took us
down. That's a Tuesday game. We never lose Tuesday games. We have lost 3 home games total. The other 2 were parts of series, and we ended up winning the series. So like make it make sense. It was crazy. Totally like not expecting that. I was actually working it for VFL Films, which was super fun.
That's fun.
But I was in the control room like screaming at the TV. It wasn't great, but you know, it's okay. They didn't need to win it. It was just a big upset, and that's okay. So my last thing is the basketball transfers. So we just got 2 big transfers for the basketball team. Very exciting, but we also lost 2 people. I touched on this before. Jonas Adu and Tobe Awaka. They just committed like literally 2 days ago. And I actually saw Adu on campus. It's like, go away. Like, we don't want you here
like,
anymore.
please get out since you don't like us.
One thing that's notable is that Adu committed to Arkansas, which is where John Calipari is now coaching. He was the old Kentucky coach. I've talked about my disdain for him before. Now they're going to be together, so that just makes sense. Anyways, that's my like little miniature update.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Thanks for filling me in. Okay, guys, so now it is time for our mini news segment. I want to touch on something that we talked about in last episode, which is, of course, the Trump hush money trial. That is still going on. It's been 2 weeks since that day when it started. They have picked jurors, so they are in the process of actually going through the hearing. This, like we mentioned, is actually only one of 5 cases that Trump is facing right now. It's the only one that will actually see trial before the election period. So that's why the others are kind of being swept under the rug.
He has 5 cases, so 5 separate cases.
Yes, 5 separate cases that will all have to be tried separately. The hush money is the number 1. Then we have the Georgia election trial.
Right.
So that was his attempt to illegally overthrow his narrow loss to Biden in 2020. Then we have the federal election trial. So that is for his attempt to overturn his loss to Joe Biden in 2020 that they say is due to the rhetoric he used leading up to January 6th. Number 4 is classified documents. So when Trump left the White House, supposedly, allegedly, he took classified documents with him. Number 5, and the 5th and final trial, is civil fraud. So supposedly, this is interesting. Supposedly, Trump has been padding his wealth for years. So it would make him look more wealthy than he actually is. So when he goes into business deals, he somehow is able to pad his wealth and make it look like he has more money. So these investors and these companies will want to partner with him.
Wait, how do you even do that?
No idea. And we'll get into that.
Okay, perfect.
We will get into that on the big episode. But crazy stuff. And his sons supposedly were involved as well. To wrap up the hush money trial, just a couple of big things that happened. A man set himself on fire outside of the trial and passed away.
What?
Yes. Random. Yeah.
Why? Wait, that was the last thing I thought that you were about to say.
Yeah, so a man set himself on fire outside of the Trump hush money trial last week or the week before, and he did pass away shortly after. He didn't pass away on scene. They took him to the hospital, and he passed away shortly after. Crazy. Number 2, Trump was fined $9,000 for breaking his gag order during this trial. He was told he was not allowed to post on social media about this trial. Okay. And he has done so. He claims that it wasn't him that did it. It's, like his social media people did it for him under his name because it's his account. But he was fined for it. So
very interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, $9,000 is like nothing to him. I don't care how much he's padding his wealth. He can afford that.
Exactly. So. Exactly. All right. Moving on to our second bit of news. College protests. More than 1,000 protesters have been arrested over the last 2 weeks.
Crazy.
On universities across the U.S.
Wow. So these are like vastly pro-Palestine people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so in next episode, we're going to get into, what is this whole Israel, Hamas, Palestine thing? What is this all about? Why are people protesting? But the people who have been protesting on college campuses across the U.S. are mainly pro-Palestinian. Or some might say they're not pro-Palestinian, but they want to free Palestine. The verbiage can be kind of confusing.
Yeah.
But it's understood that at least these college protesters are trying to send a message to the university to stop supporting companies who may be supporting Israel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's kind of the whole wrap up. Of course, that's a blanket statement. We don't know what everybody is protesting for, but that's kind of the understanding that AP News talks about. So that's where it's coming from.
Well, Israel is one of our allies, so I wouldn't ever expect them to support Palestine in any way. So I guess that's where a lot of the frustration comes with these protesters that are supporting Palestine, because it's like, if you're an American, you should be supporting what we as a country support.
Right. That is the general consensus. So the Israel-Hamas war was sparked on October 7th after a raid of southern Israel. So Hamas, which is a Palestinian military group, came in the middle of the night on October 7th, which is also a Jewish holiday.
And I didn't know that.
Yep. And they raided southern Israel and killed 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and they took around 250 hostages. The next day, the Israel Defense Forces, which is known as IDF, declared war on Hamas on October 8th and conducted airstrikes in Gaza. Since then, 11,000 Palestinians have been killed. So you have a little sliver, which is Gaza, and that's Palestine territory, and then you have this big strip of land that's all Israel.
Okay.
And then to the right, you have another little chunk of Palestine. So
okay.
Israel is in between these two smaller chunks of Palestine. But it has been hundreds and hundreds of years of fighting to control the Gaza territory and the entirety of where Israel and Palestine is. This conflict is so much more than what we just talked about, and I will definitely go into details because it is, incredibly important to know both sides of the story. All right, guys, that wraps up our mini episode. We're so thankful that you guys tuned in.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. It's a little bit different from our typical episodes, so make sure to let us know if you liked it, didn't like it, want to see more of this,
Yeah, and we hope it, gets you interested in the next episode so that you can learn more about what we talked about today, because there's a lot more information than we can pack into 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, a lot going on. So make sure to tune in.